Hey guys, Matt Allen, Tim Little, welcome back to Tactical Bassin. We're continuing the holiday series simply because you guys keep requesting videos. We thought we would be done long before now, but the requests just keep coming in. So today we're going to talk about topwater. Kind of a funny topic here in the middle of December, but in all seriousness, what is the first thing that a bass fisherman does all winter long? Sit and think about his last topwater blow up and how excited he is for his next topwater blow up. I mean, that's what we do all winter. We watch frog videos. We watch any way that we can get some topwater action in our lives, just waiting for it to warm back up. So really, it is a fitting time of year for this stuff. Even though we can't go out and fish it right now, we can absolutely dream about it for the next few months until it arrives. We're going to start with frogs. We're going to go frogs, poppers, walking baits, and then straight retrieve baits. You want to fire off with the frogs, or I can take a shot?
Sure. How can you talk about topwater and not include frog fishing? Frog fishing is one of my favorite ways to fish. You know, you're power fishing, heavy rods, heavy braided line, and just big fish and grinding on them. So two of the frogs I'm going to talk about, the Spro Poppin' Frog. This is more of like a little finesse style frog. I've caught a lot of fish on this. I do recommend changing out the hooks. We're not going to get into too many details about this stuff, but the bait itself is a great bait, great fish catcher, comes in a lot of good fish catching colors. And then the Spro King Daddy. This is a giant frog. It displaces a lot of water. If you're fishing pads or mats and you want that commotion on the surface, this is a great way to not have to put actually like beads or BBs or actually adding weight to a normal sized frog. You can get this frog and it's a fish catcher.
Absolutely. The three I want to bring to you, we're going to give you 5 total. First one is going to be Snagproof Bobby's Perfect Frog. Smaller profile, but it's a bait that we throw a lot. Has a great walking action, easy frog to walk, fishes well out of the package. That's a great choice. That's one that time to time, especially when the bites get tough or fish are short striking, I still pick up a lot. Next one, Spit and Wah. When the Spit and Wah came out, specifically the 65, right? Is that what this? No, this is bigger than that. Is this 70? The big one. We're going to give you links to all this stuff anyway, down in the video description. Sometimes here we don't know what we're talking about, but by the time we get down in the video description, give you the links to every product, they're going to be dead on. So whichever size this is, I'm going to have the link to it for you. Also, I think for the sake of time, we'll keep this video short by not doing rods and reels and those things, but down in the video description, I will also give you some rod recommendations. Right. Tim's favorites, my favorites for throwing some of these topwater baits. But number 2 is going to be that Spit and Wah. This frog, when Tim and I first got these a few years ago, we came out here on Clear Lake. We had them early in the season, and the one thing I could say after throwing this for a few months is that we had caught more big frog fish than we had in like the 3 or 4 previous years combined. It's not as big as a King Daddy, but it is a big profile. Moved a lot of water with that cupped face, and we just started catching better fish. And it really, I think for both of us, changed our approach to frog fishing completely. That's a great one.
Yeah, there's been other popping frogs on the market, but the size of that, the way it leaves the bubble trail, if you guys haven't seen the video we did with that frog, I'll put a link of it up here.
Cool.
If you guys just want to enjoy just a frog fishing beatdown, check that out. But yeah, it's a phenomenal bait, great colors.
Last one, also a river to sea. This is the Bully Wah 2. I think this is both of our favorite frogs. It's my favorite frog for sure. This is an easy to walk frog, fishes straight out of the package, walks very well, hookup is really good. It comes with most of the frog modifications that we do already done to it. Literally just shorten the legs and go. That is just a fish catching frog. That's my number 1 for sure. And then of course, in that color, we have the Little Allen color. Unless you're on Tackle Warehouse, then it's called Little John, but the Little Allen color in that frog is just a killer. Simple frog recommendations for you. If you want to try some new frogs this year, there's 5 that you need to pick up and try.
So next category, we're gonna do some popper style baits. We got 3 of them we picked out for you. I'm gonna talk about the Rico. This is a great bait out here on the West Coast. It's a It's a great fish catcher if you're fishing for smallmouth, for spots, for big largemouth. You can throw it on a spinning rod. You can throw it on a big bait caster. It's a really good universal bait, and it's comes in a lot of great colors, great sound. Yeah. It's top-notch popper.
And one of my favorites is the Yellow Magic. Honestly, virtually identical. They're so close it's not even funny. Slightly different sound maybe, but very, very close baits. But if you've tried one, haven't tried the other, you need to try them. And then, whoop, there went that one. The last one that I want to talk about is a Bubble Walker. Little bit bigger profile. Now, something that I think a lot of people overlook is that every popper on the market can be walked. You can walk it like a spook, but some are easier to walk than others. Some of them it's really tough. The Bubble Walker is a bait that you can fish like a popper, or if the fish are getting active, you can walk that thing like it's a little tiny spook and get that reaction bite as well. So that's a great bait, carries over, does both. Again, we're gonna throw some things at you that I would be willing to bet every fisherman that watches this has tried, and we're gonna throw you some variations that very few guys have picked up, and you need to try them this year, especially when you're daydreaming about that summer topwater bite while there's ice and snow outside.
So talking about walking style baits, you can't leave home without the Zara Spook. This is fish catcher, the West Coast, East Coast, everywhere. People have been throwing this bait for years, and it's a must-have in your topwater arsenal. Another one of my favorites is going to be the Lucky Craft Sammy. It's more of a finesse style walking bait. Comes in great colors. Again, we're talking about sound. All these different baits have different sounds, different actions, so you want to get a handful of different ones and try them on your water, see what your fish want. But there's days where this will smash them, and there's days where you can't get a bait on it, but you can smash them on this. So you want to bring an assortment of different topwater baits.
Right. The two I'm going to throw into the mix, this is the River to Sea Rover. Sound-wise, Tim brought up sound. I would put the Rover profile-wise very similar to like a Vixen, or Paycheck had a bait that was very similar to that. Sound-wise, I'm going to put it exactly halfway between a Super Spook and a Vixen. It doesn't have that super low, it doesn't have that super high pitch. It's right in the middle, and it's just a very consistent fish catcher. Then the last one...
The spots love that thing.
Yes, they do. Last one is going to be that same Bubble Walker, that popper. It comes in a giant size. This is a bait that nobody ever talks about. I don't know that I've seen a single video about this bait. Nobody throws it. Well, I mean, somebody obviously throws it. We throw it. But this is a bait, you can fish it like a popper, but really, I generally fish this bait, even though it's got a cupped face on it, like a spook, like a walking bait. That cupped face keeps the action really tight. So where a spook is big and wide, this bait is almost just sitting in place, just flip-flopping. Some fisheries, you cannot touch this thing. Clear Lake, I can absolutely catch fish on it, but I seem to do a lot better on a Rover or a spook. Delta, this thing stomps those baits into the ground. On the Delta, for whatever reason, maybe because it stays in the strike zone longer, they're all about this thing. So that's a bait that most likely your fish have not seen, and you need to try it. It's a bigger profile. Where's the spook? It's a bigger profile. It's a lot wider, little bit taller. It just gets big bites. That's a good choice.
Why don't you talk about the actual cup face, because I think that is what makes it different.
Well, that cupped face on there, so it's, one, you are getting some of that splash out of it. You're also, there's room for air to get through, so it leaves a big commotion. It leaves bubbles in the water, a different commotion, and that face, when you're trying to walk it, it won't get that, like I said, it won't get that wide side to side because that cup is also slowing it down. So it really keeps it in the strike zone, really churns up that water, and it's a very different action.
You want to do Buzzbaits?
Yeah, let's do Buzzbaits. Why don't you include that guy there?
Which guy?
We'll just say straight retrieve baits. I'll start it off.
Okay, go for it.
I'm going to talk about two. The first one is a head knocker. This style of buzzbait is something that in the past we kind of had overlooked, I think, because they tend to be a smaller buzzbait. And out here we throw a lot of, don't worry about that.
Got a scale on
Still got scales on the hooks. But head knocker style buzzbaits, even though they tend to be smaller profile, are just absolute killers. I think that's, It's either a Zorro baits or a greenfish. I'll look it up for you. That'll be down in the video description. The second style is going to be Dirty Jigs. They make a skirtless buzzbait. There are a handful of companies making skirtless buzzbaits now. They have taken over much of the country. They've been a little bit slow to come out here out west. This is one of these trends that originated farther east and is coming our direction. But skirtless buzzbaits, like when you see this thing on a store shelf, you're like, there's no way I'm gonna buy that. It's just a hunk of lead. But when you see them in the water or you see them rigged, that's a 4.8 Kitech. I mean, it just makes sense. Absolute realism, swimming underneath a buzzbait blade, nothing in the way of the hook. They just flat work when other buzzbaits don't.
That is an awesome bait. There's some trailers that you can put on that thing, and you can skip these buzzbaits up under these docks.
Yeah.
It's a traditional, double blade buzzbait. You can't skip this for anything, but something like that, it's really fun to fish. You can get that buzzbait commotion in an area where you can't, traditionally throw a buzzbait.
That's a great point, because that buzzbait, we're in the West, and I was one of those people that was slow to connect with it. I love buzzbait fishing, but when I'm one of those that looked at it and was like, I don't know, man, I don't think so. The first time I saw a video of that bait disappear skipping up under a dock is when I went, oh,
yeah.
I got it. They just are different. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because we'll include the bait that they use to skip that thing too, because it is completely different than a normal presentation.
So sticking with buzzbaits, I'll go ahead and give you that one. Sticking with buzzbaits, a traditional double style buzzbait is a great topwater bait. You can get different style of blades, different skirt colors, all those sort of things. But a double buzz is a fish catcher no matter where you're at. If you're fishing around tules, grass, docks, fish it fast, fish it slow. A double buzzbait. I don't remember exactly who makes this one, but we'll put some links in there of some brands that we throw. But a double buzz is a great style bait.
Yeah, the double buzz is right there with that popper. Same concept. Just turns up so much water and goes so much slower than the other baits. They just do it.
Right.
And then last, it's a new year, man. Fishing has changed. It's always changing. If we did a topwater video that didn't include a Whopper Plopper, it would be a useless video. The Whopper Plopper has crushed the market, and it's because it crushes fish. If you're only going to try one this year, it's the 130 size. It comes in a variety of sizes, all of which work. We've slayed them on all of them. But if you were only going to throw one, I don't care if you're fishing for 2 to 3 pound smallmouth. I don't care if you're fishing for 10 pound largemouth. You throw that 130 size, tons of commotion, completely unique sound. Fish just obliterate it. Right. I mean, is that a fair word for it? They don't eat it. They hurt it.
They haven't seen it. It's so much commotion. You can pause it. It won't sink like a normal buzzbait. You can pause it. You can pop it. There's different retrieves for it. But there's a reason that this is the #1 sought after bass fishing bait in the country right now. Yeah. So I don't even know if you can get your hands on them or not, but they are truly a must have.
That's a killer. So again, we're going to keep it at just baits in this video, but we will give you some links. We'll pick out some of our favorite rods for these baits, favorite reels, our line setups. As you guys know, we throw almost all braid anyway, especially with topwater. We are all braid, so we'll give you links to all that. But we hope this helps. You want to add anything?
No, it's December here in California. There's ice on my deck, but it is a great time to start prepping your tackle, prepping your gear. For those of you guys at back east that can't go out and fish right now, it's a great time to get all your stuff situated, get your tackle organized, and order some stuff for the spring and summertime. So again, there's a real quick topwater breakdown of some must-have baits. Again, guys, we appreciate the support. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.